let's go over just a few of these missions and a few of these ministries so that you can get an idea of how varied they are. We'll start with neighbors in the hood. They choose yards or parks or public spaces that they're in need of yard work or cleaning, which can be occupied or abandoned. They will ask those persons permission, and they can gather people either in the church or outside of the church to help them in this cleaning effort. Personal buddies, to visit hospitals, rehab centers, as personal friends, to read to the residents the Bible, personal letters, magazines, to including prayer. Now, you have, as a group, you have an opportunity to decide where you want to go, how you want that ministry to work for you. It would be that group's decision as to how they want to do it, whether they want to go to a rehab center, whether they have a particular place to go. They can make that decision in their small groups. Understand, and I will repeat this and I'll keep repeating this, these ministries are not for people in the church. The benefit of these ministries are for people who are not members of our church. You're to serve people who are not members of our church, reaching beyond this church membership into the community. The canteen team. These people offer bottles of water at parks or other public areas. It can be seasonal or it can be all around the year. They can make the decision as to how they want to do that. They will take bottles of water and they will hand them out as a gift from their ministry, from this church, to the general public. Sometimes they go to baseball games in the summer, sometimes they go to soccer matches, sometimes they go to public places where people are just walking and you know it's a hot day and they pass out water. They have the opportunity to decide how they want that ministry to work. And each one of these ministries, you may solicit funds from people who are not in the church. As a matter of fact, we recommend and we encourage you to solicit funds from neighbors and friends, from some of the groups that you belong to, some of the organizations you belong to support you in this ministry opportunity. Each person in your group may contribute some small amount to it, and there's some minimum standards that you will meet. But that will be up to your group as to how you will operate and how you will run that group. If you have concerns, we will have members of our leadership team who will meet you in the hall out there, and we'll talk about some of the small details that you can consider as you start developing your group. First, Kids Wheels. Now, this group will aid in soliciting neighbors, business groups, and others, doctors, lawyers, restaurants, groups that you belong to, in sponsoring bicycles. And you'll put a little tag on it. We're talking about bicycles for kids, those 18-inch bicycles for kids between the ages of 7 and 10, or 6 and 10. Bicycles for them. You'll figure out how much the bikes cost. You'll go to either maybe to Walmart or to Target or wherever you want, and you'll talk to them about discounting bicycles so that you can take the money that you receive for the bicycles and put the tag of the person who sponsored the bicycle as well as the church's name. And at the end of the year, just before school lets out or just after school lets out, we'll have a giant display of bikes in the parking lot with helmets, and it'll be a giant giveaway. And the way that you do it is you will solicit, either you will say we'll go to a school or schools, depending on how many bikes you get, through their school social worker. And you will ask them to identify children who have not had a bicycle before. And that's how you get your target group. It may be one school, it may be a number of schools, depending on how many bikes you wind up getting sponsored. There are other ways, other things that can be done with that, but these are just a few little heads up. Kitchen, if you can. You will work together as volunteers at different food and soup kitchens, a minimum of once per month. This can be a ministry in itself. There are some other issues, some other groups that might do the same things, but this is an opportunity. The 2-hour crew. This is a group that will volunteer their time to families to allow caregivers a respite, a time to get away so that they can care for themselves. You know, there are some people in the community who need time away. They have children where they just need time. They just want to get away, or they have an elderly person that they've been taking care of, and they need an hour or two where they just need time for themselves. They might have kids. They might be taking care of an elderly person. All you're going to do is give them enough time. Maybe they want to go to the movies, or maybe they want to go out to dinner. So you give them enough time where they can spend some time with themselves to regroup after being confined with the persons that they love, so they can continue to love them. Because you know how difficult it can be when you're there all the time. The Circuit Rider Bible Study. You establish a neighborhood Bible study group, not a book study, a Bible study. You do it in a home or in a public location, and the Bible study will rotate from home to home, with each host inviting their neighbors or friends to share in the Bible study class. It can be one lesson, it can be in one book, you can design it any way you want, but the Bible study will move from place to place. It's a way of expanding and people, neighbors, getting to know each other, and at the same time sharing spiritual ideas and religious ideas and learning from the Bible. Cover thy neighbors. Setting collecting goals. This is a year-long, and could be a year-long drive. As a matter of fact, it's been recommended as a year-long drive, where you solicit blankets or monetary donations from individuals or organizations and friends outside of the church to cover the homeless, as well as provide blankets for organizations like Cass Community, the Red Cross, Salvation Army. Blankets will go out, and they said, well, Pastor, sometimes we want to know, well, how will we be able to judge how many people we've served? Here's a good example of how you can figure this out. If you have a twin blanket, and we're not talking about throws, we're talking about blankets. Twin blankets, queen-size blankets, and king-size blankets. If you have a twin blanket, that covers one person, so you know you've helped one person. If you donate, or if you have a blanket that's a queen or a king, you know that's two people. So if you have two blankets, one's a twin and one's a king and one's a queen, you know that you've just covered 5 people. That's how you know how many people you've helped or how many people you've aided. And this can be done either by giving to these different organizations, as well as literally going out and giving blankets to people who are living on the street and under viaducts during the winter and during those difficult seasonal moments. All these are possibilities. Operation Cover Up. You collect hats and gloves, ending with a donation and or street distribution. That group can decide how they want to donate. Here again, sometimes they use schools. They'll say, we'll provide gloves for a certain number of schools. Or they may decide that they will give it to a specific group that does this as well. But it will come in for every pair of gloves, of course. Every pair of hat and gloves represents one person. That's how you'll be able to keep track of how many people you have served. Every pair of gloves and every hat will constitute one person. That's one way that you will keep track. Now here's one that I like. Everybody likes even the name of it. Suckers for Christ. Candy suckers given away to strangers on the street with the church address and a Bible verse attached to it. Now all they do, they might run off, computer, type it up and print it out, and you cut them and you tape them to a sucker. And you go to public places and you pass them out. Just give them to people. Sometimes it has the church address on the back of it, but it just has a little prayer or maybe a short thought. Just may say, just God loves you, or you're not haven't forgotten, or you haven't been forgotten. And with the church address, and you pass these suckers out. That's all you do. Just pass them out. The number of suckers you passed out are the number of people that you reached on that given week or that given month. You will determine exactly how often you will do it and where you will do it. Hands and feet. Do the shopping and general light cleaning for homebound or physically restricted persons. This requires a special kind of person. You know who you might be. This might be something that you feel comfortable doing. If it is, this is a ministry for you. The mail room. This is a ministry for anybody, regardless of where you are. Whether you're at home, whether you're homebound, whether you're in the church, it doesn't make any difference. The mail room is our handwritten prayers from Narden Park to strangers. 3 prayers minimum per month per group member. However, we know that you might be able to do more. Now, if you can't write, it's not a problem. You can cut prayers out if you want, and you can glue them to the back of a postcard. So if you can't write, but you see a prayer that you like, you can paste it to a postcard. So if you have a problem writing, that's not a stumbling block. Prison ministry. You conduct Bible study for males or females incarcerated in city or the county facilities. This ministry requires special preparation and training and is quite rewarding. We have someone here at the church who can help you. Minister Dale will be more than happy to help you understand what it takes in order to do ministry in the prison system. He knows how that's gone because he's participated in it. He's got a lot of experience with that. And it's a very rewarding ministry. True enough, everybody's not cut out for it, but there are some people who would find great gratification, especially reaching out to some of our females and some of our males who are incarcerated, who want to change their lives and study the Bible. To have and to hold. Volunteers will hold babies in local hospitals for mothers and for other situations as the hospital directs. Here again is another ministry that may require that you do some special things first. You know, hospitals have regulations, and of course, you know you're going to have to be cleared. There's going to be some checks going on, some clearances that you might have to go through, maybe some shots you might have to do, and some orientation with regard to HIPAA laws. But this can be a rewarding ministry for those who like to do that. One ministry that already exists are Stitches of Love. They're already knitting and sewing or crocheting prayer shawls or lap blankets. And more persons are needed to begin, and you're being welcomed. Now, I understand that they have a few people, but they still have some positions that are still open, so you could prayerfully consider how you would like to do that. Cass Community Social Services participate in different needs of the community and in ministry to Cass Social Services, a United Methodist social service agency that has a lot of different ways that you can participate in ministry with them. Have Prayer Will Travel. You go to different public arenas and events and offer persons an opportunity to be prayed for on location. There are people who know, or you walked in places where you see people, you look at them and you just know, this person needs a prayer. Ask them if we can pray for you, and you pray for them without obligation, with no commitment. You just pray for them. This requires people who are not afraid to be or to see other people, who don't have a problem doing short prayers for other people in public places. Just say, we'd love to pray for you. I know the way we did it before, we walked around with a sign around our neck and say, we will pray for you. Just ask, we will pray for you. For no cost, and you believe it or not, people smile and they laugh, and some people will walk up to you and they'll say, I have a prayer concern. Would you pray with me? Some of these take you out of your comfort zone, but some of these are some of the most gratifying ways of sharing our faith connection and allowing others to find their faith connection. The Personal Cheer Squad. There are young people out here who are participating in sports and other activities, and for whatever reason, their parents are either working or they don't have parents that are able to attend, and they're participating in these sports by themselves. It might even be a play. It can be a sporting event. It can be a spelling bee. It can be a play. Sometimes they need someone there who will be cheering them on. So this small group of people will get together, find out who that young person is, and we'll hold up signs, or we'll stand in the stands and we'll cheer for them. Yay, Becky! Yay, Becky! We will let them know that we support them in their activity. It's a fun thing to do. And it lifts the spirits of young people who normally don't get an opportunity or have the ability to have someone there for them, cheering them and supporting them. It can be a wonderful activity to be a personal cheer squad, to deliver flowers to someone in a play, or a congratulations card for what they've done in the spelling bee. Small things like that make a big difference in the lives of young people. And believe me, parents appreciate it. Shorts and sports. This provides sporting equipment such as basketballs, volleyballs, or soccer balls for youth. Now, each distribution of equipment will culminate in sports workshop of some kind or another. You say, but Pastor, where do we get the money for this? You go out to the different places, to different organizations, to different businesses, and ask them would they like to support a ball, a basketball, a volleyball, a soccer ball. And here again, we'll put their name on the ball along with the church so people will know where this ball came from, who sponsored it. We'll gather all these balls together, and on that sporting day, we'll have a little sporting clinic for the young people so they can come out with receive their balls, and it'll be a giveaway as well as a workshop. That's one of the ways it can be done. It doesn't have to be done that way. I'm sure some of you are creative, and you know there are different ways that you can make this work. But the whole thing is to solicit funds to buy these sporting goods, these balls. You'll be surprised how many businesses would be willing to do that and would be willing to share that responsibility. Back to backpacks. Providing backpacks for elementary and junior high school kids with no seasonal restrictions. In other words, you can almost do this year-round because you know backpacks wear out, backpacks get lost, and sometimes you might want to raise funds for backpacks, find sponsors for backpacks, and give them all out at one time at one particular place, like here, or for a school, or however you decide you want to do that. You might decide you want to give out backpacks randomly. You might want to go to the Riverwalk. You might want to go to the Farmington Park or to the Hawks and just give a backpack away. How you do it is up to you. Each backpack, of course, represents a person. Coats for Kids. Through solicitations with organizations, this group will purchase coats for the community. Sometimes people will volunteer. You come up with the average cost of a coat and ask people for the funds, and you go out and buy coats. You say, we want new coats, just brand new coats. They will bring you coats. You know, I will say this isn't for the group can do it any way they want. Any way you want. I think to give kids coats is a great thing regardless. But this is just my opinion. We should be giving to people like we would like people to give to us. I believe new coats. You give people new coats, not used coats, but new coats, because like all of us, we would like things new. Doesn't mean you have to. That's just my suggestion. I know that sometimes when we receive hand-me-downs, it's not the same spirit. I realize we like people to appreciate whatever they get. But you know how it is sometimes, like some of you right here, you know good and well, you don't particularly care for anything used, so if you wouldn't care for it, then you don't need to give it to someone else. Give them a new coat. Thank you, cookies. Thank you, cookies. You give cookies to people for the public service, for the many ways that they are overlooked. You appreciate them for the many ways and many things that they've done. Thank you cookies go to firefighters, police officers, waiters and waitresses, elevator operators, custodians, garbage collectors, people that do jobs that we take for granted. People who have difficult jobs, we need to recognize them. Secretaries, administrative assistants, people that do difficult things, but their job is never heralded, or they're kind of work behind the scenes. Let them know that we recognize them and that they are appreciated. In our community, there are a lot of places where people do things and they're not appreciated. Sometimes it's just the person that takes the tickets in the movies. Sometimes it's that babysitter, maybe it's a dog walker, whoever it is. Give them a thank you cookie. Let them know that what they're doing is appreciated. The one ministry that I left unsaid was number 17, which was the Pastor's Army of Christian Kindness. Normally this is reserved for the officers of the church, but there are still spots that are available. Now, this ministry requires an extreme blind faith commitment. The mission commitment requires acceptance of what we're going to do before you know what you're going to be doing. In other words, we're not going to have you jumping out of planes, but it will be something that you may not recognize or realize you're going to be doing. It's not going to be anything that's going to endanger your life, but it will require that you be you don't need any special abilities, but you do need to be in reasonably good health, able to walk a moderate distance, and not afraid to interact with people in different or unusual settings or locations. It is highly recommended that participants of this mission activity be secure in their ability to share radical hospitality with any and everyone. Now, the Pastors Army of Christian Kindness, I will be identifying the ministry that we're going to be doing on that particular month. There's going to be some ministries that we're going to have fun doing. There's going to be some ministries that might be a little dirty. There might be some ministries, I mean dirty, I don't mean like smutty, dirty like cleaning yourself, you know. There might be some ministries that require that you get out of your comfort zone and you have to laugh. You might have to act a little bit. There might be ministries where you might have to be more serious than you normally are. But the Pastor's Army of Christian Kindness will encompass a different thing every now and again, and to tell you what those different things are wouldn't be fair to me. So, Pastor's Army of Christian Kindness. Now, I know you'll probably have a lot of questions with regards to what these ministries might be, or details about these ministries. I will say this: oh wait a minute, I also forgot, what is it? I said CAS, didn't I? CAS Community Services. There's Crossroads. I missed Crossroads. Crossroads is a community volunteer organization which assists persons with different social, and economic, and personal challenges to live a safe and healthy and respectful life and a productive life as part of our community. Crossroads is a ministry that some people in this church have already participated in. We will formalize it. We will have people who will belong to Crossroads ministry if you want to participate, just like we would for CAS Community Services. I want to make sure that everyone recognizes that there are ministries that everyone can participate, even if you're at home. There's no reason you can't do Suckers for Christ or the mail ministry, or you can't support any of these other ministries, even if you're not physically present. Everyone can participate.